Okay, what if the way you feel anxious, those butterflies, that kind of constant unease, what if it's not just all in your head? What if it's also, well, in your gut?
It's definitely a connection that's been talked about for ages, really, but the science is now. It's confirming just how powerful that link is, how direct.
Absolutely. So today we're doing a deep dive into this remarkable link between your digestive system and, well, your mental state.
Right.
And we're really zeroing in on how what you eat and maybe the trillions of tiny microbes living inside you might be playing this sort of secret role in your anxiety levels.
Yeah, we've been digging into some recent research reviews, looking at clinical trials, especially around probiotics, and also pulling insights from various health resources that explore this whole gut-brain axis thing.
And our mission here is basically to take all that info and, boil it down for you.
Distill it. The most important findings, some surprising details maybe, and what it could actually mean for how you feel day to day.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut. Your way to get informed on this pretty complex topic without having to sift through everything yourself.
We'll unpack it together. Like guides, maybe?
Yeah, guides. Exploring this fascinating territory and bringing back the key knowledge without getting lost in all the academic weeds.
Sounds good. So where do we start this connection?
How does it even work?
Well, it really starts with what scientists call the gut-brain axis. And you have to kind of forget the old idea that the brain is the sole command center.
Right, like it's just sending orders down.
Exactly. Your gut actually has its own incredibly complex nervous system. They sometimes even call it the second brain or the enteric nervous system.
And these two systems, the brain up here and the gut down there, they're in constant communication, like nonstop chatter.
It's a real two-way street, isn't it?
Yeah.
The brain sends signals down, obviously, affecting digestion.
Sure, like when you get stressed and your stomach turns.
Yeah. But, and this is the crucial part, the gut sends a massive amount of information back up to the brain. And the main highway for all that traffic.
That's the vagus nerve. I always picture it like this thick cable running all the way from your brainstem down, connecting directly to your gut.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's constantly sending data packets, basically, from the gut about its state.
Data packets? Like what kind of data?
Oh, everything. How stretched the gut walls are, muscle contractions, the presence of certain chemicals or bacteria, inflammation levels. It's like real-time status updates.
Okay, so the gut's constantly reporting back to HQ.
Precisely. And if things are, let's say, uncomfortable down there, inflamed, imbalanced, that info gets relayed up the vagus nerve. And it can absolutely influence your mood, how your brain interprets things.
Which explains why stress messes with your stomach, but also why an unhappy gut could actually make you feel more stressed or anxious. It goes both ways.
It really does. They're like, housemates maybe. If one's having a really bad day, the other one definitely feels it.
I like that. And here's a stat from the sources that it floored me. Your gut produces something like 90% of your body's serotonin.
90%, yeah. It's astonishing, isn't it?
It really is. We think of serotonin as the happy chemical in the brain.
And it is critical in the brain for mood regulation, absolutely. But the vast majority of it is actually made in the gut.
So if your gut environment is messed up, say, the bacteria are out of whack or there's inflammation,
then it stands to reason that could potentially impact this huge source of serotonin, which in turn could affect your mood, maybe contributing to feelings of anxiety or even depression.
That helps make sense of something doctors see all the time, right? The big overlap between gut problems and mental health issues.
Oh, definitely. The sources mention that anywhere from 40% to, get this, 90% of people with IBS irritable bowel syndrome also struggle with anxiety or depression.
90%, wow.
It's not a coincidence. That's the gut-brain axis right there in action. Their physical gut discomfort is tangled up with their emotional state, and vice versa.
It really hammers home that you can't treat these things in isolation, can you?
Not effectively, no. They're deeply intertwined systems.
Okay, so if the gut is making mood chemicals like serotonin, and it's constantly talking to the brain through the vagus nerve, then it makes sense that changing the gut environment could maybe change how the brain feels. And a huge way to change the gut is diet.
Exactly. That's the core idea. By changing what you eat, you can shift the community of microbes living in your gut, your microbiome.
All those trillions of bacteria and fungi.
Yep. And if you can influence them positively, you might be able to influence that gut-brain conversation and potentially improve your mental well-being, stress, anxiety.
Which brings us to this really interesting study one of our sources highlighted. It looked at something called a psychobiotic diet.
Psychobiotic.
Yeah.
Even the name tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it suggests it's aiming for the psyche, the mind, but through the biology of the gut.
Pretty much. This study took healthy adults, but folks who didn't have the greatest diets to begin with. And they split them. One group just kept eating like usual, that's the control. The other group adopted this specific psychobiotic diet for just 4 weeks.
Only 4 weeks? What did they actually have to eat on this diet?
Well, the focus was really on two main things: feeding the good bacteria already there and introducing new beneficial ones.
How do you feed them?
With prebiotics. These are basically types of fiber your body can't digest, but your gut bugs love them. So lots of fruits and vegetables. The study mentioned things like onions, leeks, cabbage, apples, bananas, plus oats, other grains, legumes.
So lots of plant fiber, essentially.
Exactly. Fuel for the good guys. And then they also included fermented foods.
Ah, like yogurts and things.
Yep. Things like sauerkraut, kefir, kombucha, probiotic yogurt. These contain probiotics, the live, beneficial microorganisms themselves.
Okay, so feed the good bugs, add more good bugs. Anything else?
Yes. Crucially, they were also told to cut way back on the unhealthy stuff. Sweets, fast food, sugary drinks, the kinds of things that can feed less desirable bacteria or cause inflammation.
Right. So a diet really designed to boost the good microbes. What happened after just 4 weeks? Did it work?
The results were pretty striking, especially for perceived stress. The group on the psychobiotic diet reported feeling significantly less stressed, a 32% reduction on average.
32% in a month. That's a lot.
It is. And the control group, they saw a drop too, which often happens in studies when people just pay more attention to health.
Yeah.
But it was much smaller, only about 17%, less than half the effect.
Interesting. And did they find that people who stuck to the diet better got better results?
They did. A clear dose-response effect. The more closely someone followed the psychobiotic diet recommendations, the greater the reported reduction in stress.
That makes intuitive sense. More effort, more reward. Yeah. Did they look inside, though? Did the microbes actually change?
They did look at the microbiome. And interestingly, the overall picture, like the main types of bacteria or the overall diversity, didn't change dramatically in just 4 weeks. It was more subtle shifts.
So not a complete gut makeover.
Not a total overhaul, no. But they did see specific changes. Increases in some types of bacteria, like one called Blaudia wexlerae, decreases in others, like Bifidobacterium longum, interestingly enough. But perhaps more importantly, they saw significant changes in the metabolites.
Metabolites, like the chemicals they produce.
Exactly, the chemical byproducts from the bacteria doing their thing or from how your body interacts with the food. They found changes in fecal lipids and also in urinary metabolites related to tryptophan.
Tryptophan, that's the precursor for serotonin, right? We're back to that.
We are. It suggests the diet wasn't just slightly shifting who was there, but significantly changing what the microbiome and the body were producing and processing. The function was changing.
So the activity level changed, maybe more than the guest list.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And they also measured something called microbial volatility.
Volatility, like instability, mood swings in your gut.
Sort of. It measures how much the microbial community is changing or fluctuating day to day. And here's the fascinating part. In the psychobiotic diet group, less volatility, a more stable gut community over the 4 weeks, was strongly linked to a greater decrease in perceived stress.
Wow, so stability in the gut seemed to correlate with less stress.
In that group, yes. That link wasn't seen in the control group. It suggests maybe cultivating a resilient, stable gut environment through diet is key.
That's really thought-provoking. A stable gut, a calmer mind, maybe.
This study certainly hints at that possibility.
Okay, that diet study is compelling evidence for focusing on prebiotic fiber and fermented foods. But what about just taking the bugs directly? Probiotic supplement.
Right, that's the more direct approach, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probiotics, usually in capsules or powders, are concentrated doses of those beneficial live microbes.
The idea being you just swallow the good guys and they set up shop.
Well, the hope is they'll boost the population, maybe provide some metabolic support, act as fuel, and influence that gut-brain communication pathway.
And there's been a lot of research on this, hasn't there? The review source looked at tons of trials. What was the general vibe?
Yeah, this review covered studies from 2014 to 2023, so it's pretty current. And the overall picture, well, the majority of the recent studies suggest a beneficial role.
Suggests, not confirmed.
Suggests. It indicates that probiotics, especially maybe as an add-on to other treatments, could be helpful for things like depression and anxiety. The trend leans positive.
Okay, a positive trend. Were there specific examples, like certain probiotics that worked?
Yes, and this is where it gets specific. The review mentioned several studies where particular strains or combinations seemed to reduce anxiety symptoms significantly.
Like which ones?
For example, a mix of Lactobacillus helveticus and Bifidobacterium longum showed promise in one study. Another found benefits with Lactobacillus plantarum P8. A different combo, Lactobacillus reuteri NK33 and Bifidobacterium adolescentis NK98, was linked to less anxiety and better sleep.
Those names are a mouthful. Does the exact strain really matter that much?
It absolutely seems to. That's one of the key takeaways. Different strains, different effects. Like one specific Bifidobacterium longum strain helped with depression symptoms in people with IBS, but didn't seem to touch their anxiety in that particular trial.
Huh.
Another strain, Lactobacillus rhamnosus HN001, looked promising specifically for reducing anxiety and depression after childbirth postpartum.
Wow, very specific applications.
Right. They even found studies where Clostridium butyricum reduced anxiety before surgery. And one study used a symbiotic.
Symbiotic, what's that?
That's a combination of a probiotic, the live bacteria, and a prebiotic, the food for them, together in one supplement.
Ah, okay.
And that symbiotic significantly reduced both anxiety and depression symptoms, and it increased levels of something called BDNF.
BDNF, brain something.
Brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of it like fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps them grow, survive, make connections. Seeing BDNF increase is a really positive sign for brain health, potentially linked back to the gut changes.
Okay, so lots of promising little signals there. But you said the trend was positive, but there were caveats. The review mentioned inconsistencies.
It did. And this is really crucial for you, the listener, to grasp. While many studies are hopeful, the review explicitly pointed out a lack of consistent findings. Meaning not all studies show benefits. There was also what they called a substantial number of less positive findings. Some trials found no significant effect on anxiety at all.
Oh.
Or they only saw improvements when the probiotic was combined with other things like diet changes or exercise. So it wasn't clear if the probiotic itself was the active ingredient.
So it's definitely not a magic bullet. Why such mixed results?
Well, there are loads of reasons researchers are still trying to untangle. For one, how exactly do these probiotics work on the brain? Is it the metabolites they produce? Do they talk to nerves in the gut lining, reduce inflammation? We don't fully know the precise mechanisms yet. Plus, the studies themselves are all over the map. They use different strains, thousands exist, different doses, different lengths of time, some just a few weeks, others many months, different groups of people, some mildly anxious, some severely, and they measure anxiety using different questionnaires.
Right, like comparing apples and oranges sometimes.
Exactly. It makes it really hard to draw firm conclusions across the board. General like Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium are common, but the specific strain seems key.
So basically, grabbing any old probiotic off the shelf and hoping it helps your anxiety might be a long shot.
Based on this evidence, yes. It seems you likely need the right strain at the right dose, maybe for a specific duration, potentially targeting a specific underlying issue. We're just not quite there yet in terms of personalized prescriptions.
Understood. And one more thing on the probiotics. Did taking them always change the gut microbes? If they worked, did the gut look different?
Another really interesting point from the review. Not always. Some studies that showed clinical benefits, less anxiety, better mood, did find changes in the gut bacteria, maybe more Bifidobacterium or Lactobacillus or shifts in diversity.
Okay, that makes sense.
But a significant number of studies found people felt better clinically improved without any major detectable changes in their overall gut microbiome composition.
Wait, how does that work? If the probiotic acts on the gut, shouldn't the gut change?
It suggests that the probiotics might be working in ways we don't fully capture just by listing the bacteria present. Maybe they're changing the activity of the microbes, like we saw with the diet study metabolites.
Ah, function over form again?
Could be. Or maybe they're directly interacting with the gut lining cells or the nerve endings there, sending signals up the vagus nerve without needing to shift the whole population balance. Or maybe they're reducing low-grade inflammation in the gut, which we know can impact the brain.
So the effects might be more subtle than just changing the census count of bacteria.
Exactly. It highlights the complexity. Probiotics show promise, especially certain strains, but the science is still evolving, and it's not a simple fix.
Right. It's part of a bigger picture.
Definitely.
Which kind of brings us to the last piece from the sources. We've hit the gut-brain link, the potential of diet, the complexity of probiotics.
Hmm.
What else did the sources say about supporting this whole system for better mental well-being?
They really emphasize taking a holistic view, that improving gut health and mental health usually isn't about finding one magic bullet. It's more like a package deal. Often needs several approaches working together.
Like what kind of approaches beyond diet and supplements?
Things that directly calm the nervous system came up. Remember that vagus nerve superhighway? Stress can really jam up the signals or send distress calls. So practices that soothe the overall nervous system can have a positive knock-on effect on the gut-brain communication.
Makes sense. Give me an example.
Diaphragmatic breathing, deep belly breathing was highlighted as something really powerful and, importantly, accessible to pretty much everyone.
Just breathing differently.
Yeah, breathing slowly and deeply from your diaphragm actually activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest mode. It directly counteracts the stress response.
So it tells the vagus nerve to chill out.
Basically, yes. And that not only calms your mind, but can also improve digestion and reduce gut discomfort. It's a direct line of communication.
Wow. Control your breath? Influence your gut and your mood?
It seems so. Another technique mentioned, especially for conditions like IBS, where the gut-mind link is so pronounced, was hypnotherapy.
Hypnotherapy? Really?
Yeah, it might sound a bit out there to some, but research actually supports it for IBS. It seems to help calm the gut and reduce both the physical symptoms and the anxiety or depression that often comes with it, likely by helping to regulate that gut-brain signaling.
Though probably best done with an expert, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. That was recommended working with a trained professional for something like hypnotherapy.
Okay, so it's this combination then. Feed your gut well with fiber and maybe fermented foods. Consider targeted probiotics based on emerging research, but carefully. And actively work on calming your nervous system through things like mindful breathing.
That seems to be the most comprehensive approach suggested by these sources. It's about recognizing that looking after your gut isn't just about digestion. It's fundamental to your overall well-being, and that absolutely includes how you experience and manage anxiety.
It really reframes things, doesn't it? Your diet, your stress management, they aren't separate silos. They're constantly interacting through your gut, which is talking back to your brain. That plate of food isn't just calories. It could be maybe secretly fueling your anxiety, or it could become one of your best tools to help manage it.
It really underscores how interconnected everything is inside us.
So knowing all this now about this amazing two-way street between your gut and your brain, what's maybe one small thing, one small change you could try today?
Right.
Maybe something in what you eat, add some sauerkraut maybe, or just take, 2 minutes for some deep belly breaths. Just one small thing to nurture that connection and just notice. See how it makes you feel.
It's a simple question, isn't it? But the potential impact could be really quite profound.
Definitely something to think about. Until the next time we deep dive into something fascinating, keep exploring those amazing connections within your own system.